The self is calling. Are you listening? Why do you feel like something essential is missing, even when everything seems to be in place? Why, in the face of success, love, or recognition, do you still hear that inner whisper saying, "This isn't it. This still isn't you"? You might not know it yet, but that echo is the call of the self, the living totality of your soul, according to Carl Jung. It doesn't shout, it waits. But the more you ignore it, the louder life becomes, repeating patterns, broken relationships, existential voids. According to the World Health Organization, over 280 million people suffer from depression worldwide. But are we truly depressed, or simply disconnected from who we really are? In this video, we'll dive deep into Jung's most profound concept, the self, the origin of your essence, the center of your being, the silent architect of your individuation. You'll understand why you feel torn between what others expect of you and what your soul truly desires. How the ego tries to control everything while the self only wants to be remembered. And most importantly, how to return home to yourself. Like this video, subscribe, and comment below. Do you feel like you're not yet living as your true self? Now, prepare for the most sacred journey of your existence. Let's begin with the question that changes everything. The silent call of the soul. What is the self in Jung? Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Now answer, honestly. Who are you? When no one is watching. When you don't need to please, compete, prove, or hide. There is a part of you that you almost never meet. A silent part that observes everything, that feels before you even think. A deep, ancient presence that knows you better than any therapist, friend, or lover ever could. Carl Jung called this part the self. And no, the self isn't a vague idea. It's the hidden heart of your existence. It is the invisible center that unites all your parts. The brave and the fearful, the loving and the cold, the creator and the saboteur. It is what you were born to be, but forgot along the way. While the ego worries about how I appear, the self asks, how do I feel? The ego runs after goals, applause, validation. The self, it just wants you to remember who you truly are. But here's the hard truth. The more you run from yourself, the more life starts to scream. Repetition, emotional patterns, relationships that feel like shattered mirrors, a nameless sadness that visits in the night. Ever felt that? Like you're living someone else's life? It's because your soul won't accept substitutes. And as long as you ignore the self, it will continue revealing itself through what Jung called synchronicities, existential crises, and emotional symptoms. The self is always there, but often only heard in the quiet of deep pain. And are you ready to listen? Ego versus self, the illusion that keeps you fragmented. Let me ask you something. Who's really in control of your life? Is it you, or a version of you shaped by fear, by the need for approval, by society's expectations? We often believe we're free, but more often we're trapped on the stage of the ego, this persona we created to be accepted, loved, respected. The ego is what you show. The self is what you hide, even from yourself. Carl Jung said the ego is necessary. Without it, we can't function in the world. But the problem begins when we mistake the ego for who we truly are. The ego craves control, certainty, and fixed identity. The self seeks wholeness, fluidity, and truth, even if it hurts. It's like living in a house with closed windows, believing that's the entire world, but the self is outside, waving from the window, saying, "Come see the sky. There's so much more beyond this room." Do you often find yourself defending, justifying, proving something? That's not your true self. That's your ego, terrified of disappearing. The ego thinks surrendering to the self is defeat, but it's exactly the opposite. In that surrender, integration begins. The self doesn't want to destroy the ego, it wants to include it. It wants the ego to stop screaming so it can finally hear. Have you ever sat in silence and felt a soft, haunting sadness, like something is missing? That's not weakness. That's the self calling you back home. The inner hero's journey, the path of individuation. Have you ever felt like you're living a story that isn't yours, that there's something more, something greater, whispering between the lines of your life? That feeling isn't just imagination. It's the beginning of a journey we all, sooner or later, are called to take. Carl Jung called it the process of individuation. But what does that mean? To individuate is not just to find yourself. It's to return to yourself, peeling away every layer you were taught to be until you touch what is eternal within. It's like walking through a dark forest, guided only by the light of your own heart. At first, there's fear. Fear of leaving the comfort of the known. Fear of confronting the shadow. Fear of letting go of the persona, the mask we wear to survive socially. But slowly, something shifts. You begin to remember. You're not your trauma. You're not your achievements. You're not your appearance, your status, your roles. You are the integration of all of it, and also the one who witnesses it all. Individuation isn't linear. It's a cycle of death and rebirth, of crises that reveal hidden treasures, of encounters with the unconscious that heal wounds you didn't even know were there. Jung said, individuation is becoming what you are, in fact, and always were, but it requires courage. Courage to step outside the comfort zone, courage to face what's buried in the basement of the psyche, courage to live a life with soul, not just with routine. This is the real hero's journey, not the one in movies, but the one that unfolds within, the one that requires silence, surrender, and faith in the unknown. Are you ready to take the next step? Because the self is there, at the center of the labyrinth, waiting for your return. And what you find there changes everything. Archetypes of the self, symbols that reveal who you are. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a dream that felt more real than your day? Or been deeply moved by a movie scene or a symbol without knowing why? That's not just emotion. It's the self trying to speak to you, using the only language the soul understands, symbols. Carl Jung called these archetypes universal images shared by all humanity, living deep within the collective unconscious. But here's the thing. They're not abstract concepts. They're here in your life every single day. Ever felt the impulse to protect someone, even if you don't know them? That's the mother archetype, alive in you, regardless of gender. And when you feel the need to guide or help someone, that's the wise old man awakening. When you keep going despite pain, setbacks, and fear, that's the hero rising inside of you. And that spark of wonder, the part of you that still wants to play, create, explore the world. That's the divine child, your original essence reminding you you're still alive. It's not too late. These archetypes aren't theoretical. They're mirrors of your soul. Here's how you can use them in your real life. Feeling pressured, uncertain about a decision? Pause, close your eyes. Ask yourself, what would the wise ones say right now? Maybe the answer is, slow down, trust what you already know. Feeling drained, like life is too heavy? Maybe the hero is waiting to hear, let's go. I believe in us. Always giving, sacrificing, putting others first? That may be the mother archetype out of balance. Even caregivers need to be cared for. The key isn't to control these archetypes. It's to listen to them, to dance with them, to honor their voice within you. Because when you begin to pay attention, life becomes more than routine. It becomes a sacred dialogue. So let me ask you this. Which archetype is speaking to you today? Are you ready to listen? The shadow as guardian of the self. What are you still rejecting in yourself? Let me ask you sincerely. What part of yourself do you most avoid? The anger that explodes without warning, the jealousy that embarrasses you, the sadness you bury under the phrase, I'll be fine. Carl Jung left us a warning. What you reject in yourself doesn't disappear. It hides, it waits, and it gathers power in the darkness of your psyche. He called this part the shadow. But here's the truth. The shadow isn't evil. It's the part of you that simply wants one thing: to be seen. It carries your unhealed wounds, your silenced potential, your truths that you were too afraid to speak. And believe it or not, the shadow is the guardian of yourself. She stands right at the threshold between who you show and who you really are, saying, "Want to find your true self? Then dare to look at me. Let me make this practical for you." That person who deeply irritates you, they may be reflecting a part of yourself you've disowned. Always being the nice one, saying yes to everything. There may be rage there, a repressed no screaming to come out. Integration begins when you stop running from yourself, not by judging, but by observing, with compassion. You can hide your shadow behind productivity, behind smiles, behind spirituality, but she'll still show up. In your reactions, your impulses, your repeated patterns. Why? Because she doesn't want to sabotage you. She wants to set you free. Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Darkness only scares us when it's left in the dark. But once you shine the light of awareness, it transforms into power, into authenticity, into truth. So tell me, what are you still rejecting in yourself? And for how long will you keep it locked away? Because only when you embrace your shadow can you finally become whole. Urdai kasinum, a shach the self in dreams, when the unconscious tries to wake you up. Have you ever woken up from a dream that felt like a message, something symbolic, strange, yet deeply personal? Jung believed that dreams are the purest way the unconscious communicates with our conscious mind, and often it's the self itself that visits us in the night. During the day, the ego is in charge, busy, distracted, performing. But at night, when the ego sleeps, the soul begins to speak, and it speaks through symbols, feelings, stories that your rational mind might ignore, but your heart instantly understands. Let me give you some examples. You dream you're lost in a forest. That's not random. That might be the self saying, "You've strayed too far from your path. Come back to yourself." You see an old house with locked doors. Each room might represent a part of you left behind, a gift, a memory, a truth needing attention. You meet an animal, a child, or a wise elder. These are living archetypes, guides. They're not just dreams, they're messages from your soul. Jung said, "A dream is a small hidden door to the deepest sanctum of the soul." But most people ignore it. They wake up, feel the discomfort, and forget. But what if you wrote down your dreams every morning? Not to analyze them like puzzles, but to listen to what yourself is whispering. Here's a powerful nightly ritual. Before bed, write, "I'm open to dreaming what I need to see." In the morning, record every detail, even the strange ones. Over time, patterns will appear, characters will return, and a voice will rise from the silence. Your own. So let me ask you, are you sleeping, or is your soul trying to wake you up? The self and spirituality, the void. No success can fill. Have you ever had everything you thought you wanted and still felt empty? The job, the relationship, the compliments, the victories, and yet inside a silence, a sense that something essential is still missing. Carl Jung said it clearly, people don't just need knowledge to heal, they need meaning. And the self is meaning. It's not about religion, it's about a living spirituality, that deep sense of sacredness that comes not from belief, but from presence. It's that moment of stillness in nature, that sacred breath after tears, that quiet voice saying, this is real. But we live in a world that sells noise as happiness, likes, speed, distraction, and the self. It doesn't compete with noise. It waits in silence. That restlessness, that silent ache, is not weakness. It's your spirit trying to be remembered. You can win the world, but if you forget the self, you'll always feel disconnected from yourself. The good news? That ache is the beginning of awakening. Because only those who feel lost can truly begin to find. So let me ask you, have you made space for your soul lately? Or have you filled every silence with distraction? The self is still there, waiting for just one moment of presence. Rituals and habits to reconnect with yourself after everything you've seen so far. You might be wondering, but how do I actually do this? How do I connect with the self every day? The answer isn't in grand gestures. It's in the sacred repetition of small, soulful acts. Just like brushing your teeth takes care of your body, you need daily rituals that care for your soul. Here are 5 simple yet powerful ways to stay aligned with yourself. 1. Soul journal, 5 minutes day. Before bed, write, what did I feel today that I ignored? What part of me did I hide? What is myself trying to show me? Not therapy, just awareness, and awareness is light. 2. Intention meditation, 10 minutes of silence. Not to stop thinking, but to hear what lies beneath thought. Sit, breathe, and ask, what do I need to integrate today? 3. Connect with nature. The self speaks through sensations and symbols, and nature mirrors that beautifully. A tree teaches patience. The wind whispers that everything moves, even pain. 4. Dream awareness. Keep a notebook by your bed. Every morning, jot down any image, feeling, or symbol. Your dreams are letters from your soul. Don't leave them unread. 5. Truth ritual. Once a week. Sit alone. No distractions. Ask, what part of me is being neglected? Then take one action to honor it. Say no. Cry. Dance. Say your truth. The self doesn't demand perfection. It just asks for your presence. The self is alive, and it's waiting for you. You've made it this far. That says something powerful about you. It means there's a living flame inside you, even if hidden, even if small, that no longer wants to live on autopilot. You've heard the call. You've faced the shadow. You've seen the symbols. You've felt truths your mind can't explain, but your heart remembers. And maybe, just maybe, you've touched yourself again. But this journey is just beginning. Because now that you know something greater lives within, life will test it. Situations will arise. And you'll have to choose. Will you let the ego lead, or will you honor that sacred voice within? In the next video, we'll unlock one of the most misunderstood, powerful forces of the psyche, the secret language of the shadow, how it sabotages your life, and how to turn it into power. You can't miss it. Subscribe, hit the bell, and comment below. Which part of your soul did you reconnect with today? And remember, the life you're searching for is already inside you. You just have to come home. See you in the next chapter. Until then, take care of yourself and listen to the silence.